gone through and seeing the end of it, man, it is a guaranteed seat in the kingdom of heaven, man. So in the name of our King Yahushua, we dedicate us another Passover of brothers and sisters' lives being saved.
April the 13th, we got the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Shalom.
Vistaprint prints everything to get your brand in front of your fans, like t-shirts, water bottles, and totes, so everyone can gift it, work in it, and take it. Whether it's one of a kind or one for your whole team, if you need it, we print it. Print everything for your business at Vistaprint.com.
Welcome to Atlanta. Christ is Officer 5000, Jeremiah, the camp leader of Atlanta. Passover 2025, starting April the 9th, we got the lamb slaughter. April the 10th, we got General Muhammad's flag. April the 11th, we got the black party that's going to have the Hebrew graduation. April the 12th, in Atlanta, Georgia, the 56th annual Passover, the only Passover under Community Junior Honor.
Our great and holy King has honored us for turning our lives from the darkness to the light, man. There's no greater gift you can receive than to wake up to the truth and then commit your life to saving your brothers, man. Looking in their eyes and seeing their faces and seeing what they've suffered and what they've gone through and seeing the end of it, man. It is a guaranteed seat in the kingdom of heaven, man. So in the name of our King Yahushua, we dedicate us another Passover of brothers and sisters' lives. being saved.
April the 13th, we got the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Shalom. Atlanta. Christ is Officer 5000, Jeremiah, the camp leader of Atlanta. Passover 2025, starting April the 9th, we got the lamb slaughter. April the 10th, we got General Muhammad's flag. April the 11th, we got the black party that's going to have the Hebrew graduation. April the 12th, in Atlanta, Georgia, the 56th annual Passover, the only Passover under Community Junior Honor.
Our great and holy King has honored us for turning our lives from the darkness to the light, man. There's no greater gift you can receive than to wake up to the truth and then commit your life to saving your brothers, man. Looking in their eyes and seeing their faces and seeing what they've suffered and what they've gone through and seeing the end of it, man. It is a guaranteed seat in the kingdom of heaven, man. So in the name of our King Yahushua, we dedicate us another Passover of brothers and sisters' lives being saved.
April the 13th, we got the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
love.
Grammarly is a must-have for all students. For example, when I'm writing emails to professors or any other writing tasks such as essays and discussion posts, I always run my writing through Grammarly. For example, they help you brainstorm initial topics.
Grammarly also generates free auto citations instantly. No need to leave your webpage or type it in manually.
One of my favorite features is the Clarity full sentence rewrites, and this function rewrites run-on sentences.
You already know it's April the 11th in Atlanta, Georgia, at the infamous Classic Atrium. ISUPK presents the All Black Party with live performances by
You'll never see another
King
nigga like
Ty.
this. Used to have that white bitch popping on the night.
144, not Kawan,
In the act like this. That's why we unaffiliated.
Shaw,
If for more, right, that's good business.
not Tazar.
We in the game, coach. Fuck you starting, hey?
Special guest from China Monet and Georgia's own Pastor Troy. 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. You already know ISUPK.com. Shalom. Friday. You already know it's April the 11th in Georgia at the infamous Classic Atrium. ISUPK presents the All Black Party with live performances by
You'll never see another
King
nigga like
Ty.
this. Used to have that white bitch popping on the night.
144, not Kawan,
Snitching in the act like this. That's why we unaffiliated.
Shaw,
If for more, right, that's good business.
not Tazar.
We in the game, coach. Fuck you starting, hey?
Special guest from China Monet and Georgia's own Pastor Troy. 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. You already know ISUPK.com. Shalom. Friday. You already know it's April the 11th in Atlanta, Georgia, at the infamous Classic Atrium. ISUPK presents the All Black Party with live performances by
You'll never see another
King
nigga like
Ty.
this. Used to have that white bitch popping on the night.
144, not Kawan,
Snitching in the act like this. That's why we unaffiliated.
Shaw,
If for more, right, that's good business.
not Tazar.
We in the game, coach. Fuck you starting, hey?
Special guest from China Monet and Georgia's own Pastor Troy. 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. You already know ISUPK.com. Shalom. Friday. You already know it's April the 11th in Atlanta, Georgia, at the infamous Classic Atrium. ISUPK presents the All Black Party with live performances by
never see another
King
nigga like
Ty.
this. Used to have that white bitch popping on the night.
144. Nakawan.
Niggas snitching in the act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated.
Shaw.
If for more, right, that's good business.
Natazar.
We in the game, coach. Fuck you talking, hey?
Special guest from China Monet and Georgia's own Pastor Troy. 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. You already know ISUPK.com. Shalom. Friday. You already know it's April the 11th in Atlanta, Georgia, at the infamous Classic Atrium. ISUPK presents the All Black Party with live performances by
You'll never see another
King
nigga like
Ty.
this. Used to have that white bitch popping on the night.
144. Nakawan.
Niggas snitching in the act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated.
Shaw.
If for more, right, that's good business.
Natazar.
We in the game, coach. Fuck you talking, hey?
Special guest from China Monet.
All right, clap it up. Hey, Shalom, this is ISUPK, Southern Ohio. We're here to celebrate the Feast of Purim, right? Feast of Purim. If you don't know the story, we're going to get into it. But this is part of Israelite culture right here. This is what we're about to go over today. You're not taught this in the Christian church. You're not taught this in Black History Month. You're not taught this ever. The only place you're going to learn this knowledge is in the ISUPK, you understand? So this biblical story, of course, you might have read it in the Bible before, but we're going to go deep into it today, and we're going to let you know ahead of time, these are Black people, Israelites, you understand? This ain't your first image when you read the Bible is white people. That's because of what society has forced down our throat. Society has told us that everything good is white and everything bad is Black, Hispanic, or Native American. That is false. That is a lie. We're going to prove it today in the scriptures. So we're going to start off with we're going to start off in the beginning. If you could start me off with the beginning, we're going to get a little backdrop of the story. Then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of it because it's a lot to talk about and we ain't going to be able to condense it all in 2 hours. So.
Sir. This is the book of Esther, chapter 1, verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Xerxes, this is Xerxes, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 120 provinces.
Right. So this is talking about Xerxes, right? And this is these figures you can go and find in history, right? Xerxes you can look up, right? All these people in history that you find in the Bible. That's why they say the Bible is the most accurate history book, because the things that happened in the Bible, you can go and back them up with events that happened in history. Go ahead.
Verse 2, that in those days, when the king Xerxes sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 3, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all the princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the province,
right
before him.
So this is the Medo-Persian Empire. Again, you can go and look this up. This is part of history. The Medo-Persian Empire was a very powerful empire. I forget the time frame, but they ruled a massive amount of land around that whole Persia area. Went to war with the Greeks. Went to war later on in history. They conquered, pretty much that whole territory around Persia.
Sir. Verse 4.
Go ahead, Isaiah.
300.
Yeah, so the Medo-Persian Empire was it wasn't just one set of people, right? It was it's kind of like the Babylonian Empire. When you look at it, it's how they conquered and took on, and then nations would go and fight for them. So even in the movie 300, you'll see that it was other groups of people fighting for the Persians. But the king, right, was Xerxes. I can't remember. I always forget this question, whether it's the same Xerxes. I'm not sure. So I don't want to say it's the Xerxes from 300. I cannot remember.
Esther chapter 1, verse 4. When he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days. Verse 5. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings fastened with cords of fine linen and purple to silver rings, pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver upon a pavement of red, blue, white, and black marble.
Where you at?
Verse 6. You want me to get down to Vashti?
Yes.
Verse 9. Also, Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Xerxes.
So this part is important because you have to realize the chain of events that's going to happen. And so this queen is important. Go ahead.
Verse 10. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mahuma, Bista, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abagatha, Zathar, Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Xerxes the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command.
Right. So this cat is a king, and his wife, who he called to come to the celebration, she refused to come. Right. Go ahead.
If I could, sir, just we kind of reading where that bad B mentality is kind of coming in.
Of course, this is a heathen. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it permeates through damn near every woman. Right. The spirit. I can't say every woman. Right, because there are some righteous sisters that listen to the man, but this woman did not listen to her man. Right, he didn't ask anything. He didn't say go run 2 miles. He said come down and celebrate with me. It's a big feast. I'm putting it on for everybody that's here. Go ahead. Any questions? Y'all just raise your hand.
But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlain. Therefore, was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. Right,
of course, right. You tell your Asherib to come down and celebrate, and the scriptures say now, she had to be, attractive. The scriptures say she was attractive. So, of course, what do a man want to do when he had a beautiful woman?
Show her off.
Show her off. He want to show her off. Go ahead.
Verse 8. 13. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the time.
Hold on, this cat. Do y'all get this cat? Temp Abdul Azim.
That's the homie, man.
Is that him? This cat. We're gonna do.
He's gonna be there all day.
We're gonna do a quick sidebar. We're gonna dedicate 60 seconds to you, Temp Abdul Azim. Right? Everybody hold your peace. We're gonna donate 60 seconds to you. Right? I know that you in all our classes trying to say that Islam is the only truth and you want us to love Islam. Let me tell you something. We will never love Allah.
Right.
We will never worship the Arab God. We'll never be Arabs. It doesn't matter how many times you get in our class and try to disrupt our classes. We think Muhammad is trash.
Right.
We think the Quran is trash.
Right.
Matter of fact, we're going to burn one after this.
That's right.
So you can go away, and that's all the time we're going to donate to you. All right, let's keep going.
Verse 13. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the time, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment. And the next unto him was Carshon, Shethar, Matha, Tarshish, Meres, Orsina, Memicon, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to the law? Because she had not performed the commandment of the king Xerxes by the chamber.
Right. So this is a quick, this is a minor council. You understand? It's like, all right, what we gonna do? Now you got to realize the gravity of this, right? What's the gravity? Somebody explain the gravity of. Go ahead.
Came around to see, one disrespect king. So Every other woman, every night.
That's the gravity of it right there. If the queen can disrespect the king, then our brothers gonna be leaders to their women. Right. And it ain't about controlling your woman, but it's about damn sure getting her to follow you. And if the queen like, well, the king, I ain't got to listen to him. Why? Listen, I'm some farmer. Why my rib gonna listen to me?
Right.
Keep going.
I'm saying I love what she was doing. Most high.
Go ahead. Clap it up before we keep going. Clap it up for the sisters that made the wonderful food. Keep going.
Verse verse 16. And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen had not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Xerxes.
That makes sense, right? That makes sense. Like, it's not just evil unto the king that didn't happen. That's evil unto every man.
Right.
Go ahead.
17. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes when it shall be reported. The king Xerxes commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath.
That's it right there. That's what's going to rise, and that was going to happen, right? Too much contempt for men, which is a lot of times what you see in today's society. There's a lot of contempt for men. Why is there a lot of contempt for men? Somebody give me a reason. Go ahead, Kyle.
The queens of this kingdom doing the same thing.
That's one reason. Anybody else? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, because this kingdom itself essentially enables everything they propagate is about woman power. You don't need a man. Hot girl summer. Everything that they show says, I don't need to respect a man. Respect me, and only me.
Anybody else? Same thing. For sure, all those reasons, including brothers. Brothers play a large part in that, right? So we've all been destroyed by this system. So brothers don't do right and sisters don't do right. None of us do right. Talking about outside the truth, of course. None of us do right as a people. So guess what? We destroy each other. The sisters mad at the brothers, the brothers mad at the sisters, and we all trash because we ain't been raised properly. Let's keep going.
Verse 19. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before the king Xerxes, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she.
Mm-hmm. So listen, this royal decree is coming out, and basically what's going to happen is she's no longer going to be the queen, because what she did was a grave error, right? And again, it's important that brothers know. General Hyman, of course, is General Hyman. He did an excellent breakdown on leading versus controlling your woman, right? Well, this is his. This is what you call his court, like his advisors. His advisors is telling him like issue a royal decree. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, perhaps they had
This was not necessarily about jealousy. This was more so about what she had done. Exactly. Can we go back up to the part where it talks about yeah.
Okay, verse 17. For this
right.
So verse 17, for this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes, when it shall be reported. The king Xerxes commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not.
Okay, your sister said she got it. So that's really the reason why they wanted that royal decree, just so it wouldn't cause a lot of turmoil amongst marriages. It was bad for marriages in that kingdom. So go ahead.
Just to add a quick point to that. When you read the scriptures, you can't look at it in modern terms from the standpoint of, well, you probably know a lot of women that do this every day, but because of what you see every day, that's what he was trying to say right there. What you see is what he was saying. That's going to happen in my kingdom. And then I'm going to lose control.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So the king definitely went along with it because it was the right thing to do. So I see why you might think that, but it was definitely something that the king agreed with. He went ahead and went along with it. So, let's keep going.
Concept. 20. And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great. All the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small.
Mm-hmm.
And the saying pleased the king and the princes, when the king did according to the word of Memacah.
Right. So they said that this saying, it pleased the king, meaning he was in agreement with it. This is what he wanted to happen. He wanted to save his empire, really, because if a sister can, well, not a sister, but if a woman can disrespect the king, what chance do common men stand in their own households?
Right.
Keep going.
22. For he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and
right.
that it should be published according to the language of every people.
Somebody find me Corinthians, man is the head.
First Corinthians.
You stay where you at. Go ahead, just go to it if you got it. Keep going, y'all, with them.
God, Esther chapter 2, verse 1. And these things, when the wrath of King Xerxes was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king.
Go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead.
I got that. Book of 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Chapter 11. Verse 7.
Nice and loud.
That should be clear.
But I will have you know that the head of every man is Christ.
Right. This is the natural order of things. This is what America teaches you to go against. This is the natural. Matter of fact, I can't even say the natural order of things. This is how the Lord set it up. The Lord set it up so that it works this way. Go ahead.
And the head of the woman is the man.
Read it from the top, Baba Kasha.
But out of the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Christ.
The head of every man is Christ. Like if you're not looking to Christ to lead you in your day-to-day life, then you're missing out on the order of things, how the Most High set it up. Christ should be leading you. You should be looking to Christ as an example of how to live. You should ask the question, what would Christ do? What would Christ do? You understand? Christ would keep the law, statutes, and commandments. That's what Christ would do. Go ahead.
And the head of the woman is the man.
The head of the woman is what?
Is the man.
That's how the Lord set it up. Like you have an obligation unto your husband. Go ahead.
And the head of Christ is God.
Right. And that's, again, that cuts people who say that Christ is God. How can Christ be God if it's saying that his head is God? That's another precept. If you don't already have that one added to your book about Christ not being God. You wouldn't even think that that's a precept for it, but if you listen to it, the head of Christ is God. So how can Christ be the head of himself? Go ahead, sis, you got it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's an excellent question. I'll tell you how it should be, right? So a sister that's been through past trauma, she's not with her man any longer. She should come and get under the protection of a man, not necessarily in a relationship with the man if she's not ready. For instance, a sister that's in the world, she's by herself. She has, 3 kids. She doesn't have a man, doesn't want a man at this time. She should come and get under the protection of a man who can spiritually guide her and lead her and be a good example for her. That's the best thing that she could do. Now, that's tough to find in the world. Again, that's why we always say, turn to the ISUPK, because it's a school full of brothers to our school. That's the name of our school. Yeah. So that's what a sister should do. She should go get under the leadership and guidance of a brother who's righteous. Absolutely. This is a great example of a brother that you could turn to for, damn right. Clap it up. Yep, absolutely. I didn't hear you. Go ahead. What you mean? No, I'm straight. I'm teaching. I'm good. I ain't gonna have anything right now. Go ahead. Oh, was that it? That was it on that, right? Keep going, yo.
Esther chapter 2, verse 3.
Okay, we're gonna get a little bit more background with this. So now we setting the stage, right? The king had a feast. His wife disobeyed him, right? Now his basically his council said, send out a decree, like there's virgins out in the country. Let's see what we can find for you. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom.
Now remember, he had 127 provinces to choose from. Go ahead.
That they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Hij, the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things for purification be given them.
Yeah.
And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti.
So Vashti was no longer going to be queen. She lost that seat when she disobeyed her husband. Go ahead.
And the thing pleased the king, and he did so.
Go ahead.
Now in Shushan the palace, there was a certain Jew.
There was a certain what?
A certain Jew.
Let me get Jeremiah 14:2 real quick. Somebody, anybody. Y'all keep. I'm gonna be calling for some scriptures. Y'all keep your phones. Go ahead if you got it. Nice and loud.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 14, verse 2. Judah mourned, and the gates thereof lay.
This is talking about the condition of the Jews. The Jews are in mourning, and our gates are languished. Use a gate for protection. When something is languished, that means it's desolate. It's not in the shape that it should be in to protect you. Go ahead.
God. They are black to the ground.
The Jews are black. So if somebody comes to you and some so-called Jewish man, and he comes and say, "Hey, I'm a Jew," that is not possible. Because what? Read it again.
They are black unto the ground.
The Jews are black unto the ground. So this Jew, there was now in Shushan the palace, there was a certain Jew. Keep going.
There was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shammai, the son of Kish, a Benjaminite
from the tribe of Benjamin. Who are those brothers and sisters today? Everybody today has a biblical identity. Because we live in a society where we're so disconnected from history and the Bible, we think that these people in the Bible went away. People don't go away. Like you not like you would have to wipe out a whole. You understand? Like Esau ain't changed over the years. He's been the same since the same. Like a lot of people be like, white people were over here, and so they kind of phased out the people. Okay. Black people been in America for a long time. We still here.
Right.
We ain't been phased out.
That's right.
We ain't been phased out. You understand? So the people that's here today are the same people that was during the time of the Bible. Keep going.
Verse 6. Who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away from Jeconiah, king of Judah.
You can go and read that history in Kings, how we were carried away to Babylon. That's a terrible thing to go and be in your own country. Now, we can't even relate to this today, right? We can't relate to this because most of us were born, I would venture to say everybody in here was born in America, right? We was born in America, and we've never had to be taken away, or we've never on our own land. Right. We've always been in the land of our captivity. There was a time when we lived in Jerusalem and we were carried away to Babylon. You know how heartbreaking that had to be? To go and be under the subjugation of another people. See, we kind of used to it here because this is all we know. But imagine just looking at Jerusalem in the rearview mirror. Keep going.
Whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
Yeah.
So
Mordecai raised his sister as his own, basically. Keep going.
Verse 8. So it came to pass when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and he speedily gave her her things of for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women.
So Esther was preferred above all the other women that had been brought in. Right. Keep going.
So verse 10. Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not shew it.
Go ahead.
And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her.
Right. So, of course, like any concerned father, he went and checked on his daughter, right? Now, which was his niece, but he raised her like a daughter.
Right.
Keep going.
Verse 12. Now, when every maid's turn was come to go into King Xerxes, after that she had been 12 months, according to the manner of the women, for so were the days of their purifications accomplished.
Listen, I tell you something. Xerxes got that right. Xerxes had the 1 year rule. Yeah. He got that. He's a heathen, but he definitely got that right. And he got, he took his time, and there was a purification, which is dope. You know what I mean? So his sisters, I seen a sister on social media fighting. She was like an alley cat.
Oh yeah.
You could best believe she ain't purifying nothing. Go ahead.
All right, Most High Christ. For so were the days of their purifications accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oil of myrrh, 6 months with sweet odor, and with other things for the purifying of the women.
All right, we're gonna drop down. Let's drop down to 21.
Okay. 21.
Hold on, what verse you in?
I was at I think like 12.
Yeah.
I was gonna go to 15.
15.
All right, now when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go in unto the king, she required nothing but what Haggai, the king's chamber, the keeper of the women, appointed. And Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that looked upon her.
Okay, you can drop down to 21.
21. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, 2 of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were robbed and sought to lay hands on the king Xerxes.
This is an important part of the story, right? This part of the story will come back. So these 2 chamberlains had sought to lay hands on the king. Go ahead.
22. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen, and Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name. And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore, they were both hanged on a tree.
Right. So basically, it was 2 chamberlains had sought to kill the king, and it was made known by Esther, and she was informed by Mordecai. Right. So it's important that we remember this for later on in the story. But they did an investigation and found out that it was true.
Right.
Go ahead.
And it was written in the book of Chronicles before the king. Esther chapter 3, verse 1. After these things did King Xerxes promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advance him, and set his seat above all the princes that were with him.
Right. So this heathen, the heathen king set up Haman, right? And he was another heathen, Agagite. Gagagite. I don't even know how to pronounce it. A Gagite. Agag, right? So anyway, he was set up number 2 in the kingdom. Keep going.
Verse 2. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did he reverence.
Listen, Mordecai saw this heathen, right? And it's just like on the job. Just think of your everyday job. One of these oppressors get raised up on the job. What do they want you to do? They want you to bow down to them, kiss their behind, suck up to them. Listen, it's so disgusting when I see it from my people. Right. You like, man, stop it. You're not gonna be VP. Stop trying to be, the man on the job. Just go do your job, do a good job, get promoted, get all the money that you can out of this oppressor. But don't be the type of brother on the job that you just suck up to the oppressor so much so that now you treating your brothers and sisters wrong. Don't do that. That's a foul thing to do. And so Mordecai would not suck up to this cat. Go ahead, Isaiah. What you mean? This is what I mean by that. Okay. In everything that we do, we should be excellent, right? When you're on the slavery, work on that slavery and be excellent on that slavery so you can hire more, so you can be a hiring manager and you can hire more brothers and sisters. So you could be the man. But like the difference between you and me, we in the truth, and we know if we get some power and authority, we're not gonna talk down to our brothers and sisters. We ain't gonna treat them like crap on the slavery because we're all in hell. We all in hell. Go ahead. That'd be a good precept. Like the gift would be, of course, the brother obtaining favor with the oppressor, right? And then now his heart is destroyed because he's talking down to sisters, he's talking down to brothers, he's treating everybody like crap, and wants everybody to suck up to him. For what? At the end of the day, you going home just like me, a black man. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Then the king's servant, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, why transgressing thou the king's commandment?
Mm-hmm.
Now it came to pass when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matter would stand.
Let me tell you something about Mordecai. Mordecai was a field nigga.
Right.
Mordecai was a field nigga. Mordecai was not a house nigga. He wasn't about that bowing down. We know we run across a lot of house niggas. You can see them all on social media trying to suck up to Donald Trump, trying to see what they can get. They smiling in his face. All these political, pundits, trying to get favor with him. But at the end of the day, it don't matter how much money you got. I even heard a story about Michael Jordan being disrespected. Now, Michael Jordan got $3 billion, but at the end of the day, he's still a nigga. Keep going.
Right. To see whether Mordecai's matter would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew.
Mm-hmm.
And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
Right.
And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone.
Listen, tell me that spirit ain't the same spirit that you find in America today.
Yeah.
That's the same spirit that if you don't bow down, if you don't come to work with your face shaved and a suit and tie and just, being in the spirit of this oppressor, like you just don't fit in. You like a square peg trying to go into a round hole. Right. Like that's why we stand out so much. That's why it's so important we put on the spirit that's in the Bible, because if not, you just be like any other American. Right. You'll be going to work. You'll be celebrating birthdays. You'll be, happy birthday, Jim. You'll be that kind of person, and you just fit right in, and you feel good. You'll blend in. You won't rock the boat at all. Unlike us, I can just tell that y'all ain't fitting in by y'all faces. Right. You go in there with that beard on, they like, damn, you ain't gonna shave that? Nah. Nah. Keep going.
All right, verse 6. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai. Therefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom.
Now tell me this ain't your oppressor. Your oppressor has this same spirit. Like, because one offense, now you want to destroy all the Jews, right? Tell me that ain't Donald Trump. Because a few bad apples, right? And of course, my brothers and sisters are destroyed. Now all Mexicans are rapists. Now they're all drug dealers. Now they all got to go. Like, that's the same spirit that's in America today. Like, your oppressor will look at one example and say, okay, you are all bad. It's like these countries with dark people, he called them shithole countries. Now, we don't care about Africans. That's not our people. But we damn sure care about the Haitians.
Right.
We damn sure care about all the brothers in the Caribbeans.
Right.
We care about, Central and South America.
That's right.
Keep going.
Even the people of Mordecai, verse 7. In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Xerxes, they cast her, that is the lot, before Haman from day to day, and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. And Haman said unto King Xerxes, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom.
Now, notice his wording in this. He said there was a certain people. He never said this is the people of the queen.
Right.
It's a certain people, right? So he was underhanded to begin with, because had he identified who the people were, like, he'd have been like, nah, because that's my queen's people. Damn, what you trying to do? The water. Keep going.
Among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom.
Any questions that anybody has, just raise your hand and I'll answer.
And their laws are diverse from all people.
Read that part again.
And their laws are diverse from all people.
Read it from the top.
So verse 8. And Haman said unto King Xerxes, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom.
Somebody find me James 1:1. James 1:1, real quick.
Let's get it, priest.
Go ahead.
It's the book of James, chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad.
Listen, we as a people are scattered. That's a curse from the Lord. You can go and read Deuteronomy. Why is that such a curse? Somebody break it down for me. Go ahead.
Being scattered is a big reason why we don't understand the power of coming together.
That's it. I ain't gonna even let you get that deep into it. That's it in a nutshell. In a nutshell, it's like if I'm getting jumped, right? I'm walking home every day by myself, and 5 bullies run up on me, I'm in trouble. But if I got my brothers right here, I got these 5 brothers, and we walking home every day, them bullies gonna be a little bit more hesitant to jump on me. That's how we are in America. It's easy to pick on us. America is a bully to us. Why? Because it's easy. We scattered. We're not only scattered physically, we're scattered spiritually as well. Like, we have no togetherness. We don't even understand how powerful it is just to come together with us right here and become like-minded. Like, this right here will spread like a virus. If every one of us in this room start thinking the way that the Bible prescribes us to think, we'll set a fire in Dayton.
That's right.
We set a fire in Cincinnati.
Right.
We set a fire in Columbus.
Right.
We set a fire all across Southern Ohio. Why? Because what's being perpetuated now? Working, drugs, unaliving your brother, all things that's detrimental to us as a people. But what if we start pushing families being together,
right,
loving each other,
right,
not selling drugs, not twerking? You twerk in the bedroom, you do whatever you want in the bedroom. You get my point. Let's keep going.
Common concept. And their laws are diverse from all people.
Our laws are diverse, man. What does your oppressor say? Your oppressor say you can eat pork, you can eat shrimp, you can eat crab, you can eat lobster, you can eat anything in the water that you want. The Bible prescribes what you can eat. That's why back here, these clap it up again for the sisters. Listen, you're not gonna find any abominations back there. Ain't no pork back there, ain't no shrimp, ain't no crab, ain't no lobster, none of that.
Right.
Let's keep going.
Neither keep they the king's law.
Right. He's saying they don't keep the king's laws. Keep going.
Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
Right. So again, this wicked heathen Haman, he was trying to set it up so he communicated to the king so he could destroy all the Jews in the land. Let's keep going.
Verse 9. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business.
Right. So he came out of his personal stash. You understand? Let's keep it down. Let's keep it down in the back. Go ahead.
To bring it,
my little sister, she got a lot to say back there.
To bring it into the king's treasures.
Mm-hmm.
And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha, Agagite, the Jews' enemy.
Right.
And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also. Do to them, or do with them as it seemeth good to thee. Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenant, and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province according to the writing thereof.
Don't that sound like what's going on a little bit today? There's a lot of decrees going out from Donald Trump, ain't it? There's a lot of things happening right now. Like you can look at the similarities. The Bible is, the living word of God, just so you know. Right. This is the living word of God. If you got a problem, you refer to the Bible for the solution. Guess what happened during biblical times? Decrees went out and they were trying to destroy the Lord's people. What is Donald Trump trying to do today? He's trying to destroy the Lord's people. Of course, America doesn't realize what they're doing. The more they're putting, I don't want to say money in the bank. What's the opposite of putting money in the bank? They're robbing the bank. They're robbing the bank. This is what they're doing. Every time they do something evil toward the Lord's chosen people, they're taking out a loan. And guess what? They're going to have to pay that loan back. I know Christianity don't like to talk about all the terrible things that's happening during the end times, but it's going to come a time where they're going to have to pay that money back. They're going to have to pay that debt back. And it's not going to be able to be paid with cash. The Lord don't want cash. Find me the scripture where it say, I shall not meet thee as a man. I think it's in Isaiah. And I will not meet thee as a man. Go ahead, Isaiah. Isaiah, give me that scripture. I will not meet thee as a man. You know what I'm talking about? I'm calling you out, Isaiah. You know what I'm talking about? It's all good. No, I want Isaiah to read it. Give it to him real quick so we keep going. Isaiah got it.
Isaiah chapter 47.
Forgive him. He got that Android. You got it? Oh, you ain't got your glasses? Go ahead. You got it? All right, go ahead.
He said, "I'm cool." It said, this is Isaiah 47, verse 3.
Nice and loud.
The nakedness shall be uncovered, and ye thy shame shall be seen.
Listen, this what's important for you to realize. America is a country that's never seen war on its soil. The Bible says this about America: your nakedness shall be what? Read it again.
Thy nakedness shall be uncovered.
Your naked, like that's a shameful thing. Like imagine walking down the street and somebody just run past and just rip all your clothes off and you got to walk home naked. Like that's a shameful thing. America hasn't known this shame. America's always kind of who people turn to be to look up to. But the scriptures say this: your nakedness is going to be uncovered. What's that nakedness? All the evil and disgusting things that you've done to the Lord's chosen people.
That's right.
Go ahead.
See, yea, thy shame shall be seen, and I will take vengeance.
That's what the Lord said. This is what the Bible say. The Bible say the Lord is going to take vengeance. The Bible also says this: don't be mocked. God is not mocked. For so wherever a man soweth, that shall also he reap. Go ahead.
And I will not meet thee as a man.
What does that mean? Somebody break that down. Somebody else.
Not meet thee as a man.
Somebody break it down. Go ahead.
Like he's not gonna meet you like he's not gonna meet you as, or he's not gonna punish you like how you would, you know what I mean, how you would do, or he's not gonna meet you as a human being. He's gonna, be stormed, you know what I mean?
That's it. That's it. So if I'm meeting you as a man, I'm going to fight you in a war. I'm going to come get guns. I'm going to get tanks. And the Lord ain't going to meet him like that. Right. Why? Because the Lord could wipe out an empire with the coronavirus. Right. The Lord could wipe out an empire with monkeypox. The Lord can wipe out an empire by, if he shut down, the power grid. You understand? The Lord is not going to meet this oppressor as a man. Of course, when you think about battle and war, you think about getting on the field and battling. That's not how the Lord operates. The Lord has sent locusts through here. He did it in Egypt. The Lord has sent lice. He'll send frogs. The Lord has he'll turn your water into blood. That's how the Lord don't get men to go to battle. You can put your hand down. I come to you. The Lord don't get men into arrangement to battle against our oppressor. That's not what's going to happen. The Lord is going to not going to meet America as a man. Go ahead, Ike. That's right. Go ahead. You could precept that. Like, of course, because as a man, matter of fact, a perfect example, when black people try to solve the problem amongst our community, what do they say? Give me an example. One example. Go ahead. Marching. That's one. Give me another one.
We put our faith in like money.
Money is the one that I was looking for. We need economic power. Listen, black people got a lot of money. Black people got, I forget the statistic, but it's 1.3 or 1.6 trillion dollars. That's black people in America. That's how much money we got. That's not chump change. We could do a lot of good with 1.6 trillion dollars, but guess what? There ain't nobody organizing us to get it together. Ain't nobody got us we got some banks, but we don't have a national bank. We don't have a national school system. We don't have a national medical program. We don't have national insurance. Like that, it should be a chain of black grocery stores. Money ain't the issue. Money ain't gonna solve our problems. Only thing that's gonna help us is the Lord. Go ahead.
If I could, just to add to your point, which is so heavy, it goes to what we're reading, how we are dispersed. Because, like he said, it's not just physical, it's spiritual. Mm-hmm. So now we got 1.6 trillion we can play with for each other. Mm-hmm. But because spiritually, we don't look at each other as that's my brother, that's my sister. You know what I'm saying? We look at each other as you know what I'm saying? We look at each other as they stole $20 from. You know what I'm saying? Because of that, we can't bring that 1.6 trillion and bring that together. America drowns within a year.
It's a whole slew of reasons why we're not able to come together. But that's one example for sure of why we can't come together. But I don't want to get off track. Let's keep going.
Continuing in verse 12.
You can go to 4.
Chapter 4.
Oh no. Actually, let's finish that because that was getting into the. Go ahead.
All right. And to the rulers of every people of every province, according to the writing thereof, mm-hmm. and to every people after their language. In the name of King Xerxes was it written, mm-hmm. and sealed with the king's ring.
Right.
And the letters were sent by post into all the king's province to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, mm-hmm. and to take the spoil of them for a prey. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people that they.
Now, hold on. Now, listen, everybody who listening to this class, I want you to focus in on this point. Imagine feeling how our Hispanic brothers and sisters feel right now. Some of them would not come to work. Some of them wouldn't letting their kids come to school. This decree right here, again, the Bible is a living book. This is the living word of God. This is a perfect example of what's happening today.
Right.
This heathen sent out a decree that you're going to die. Imagine you being in some city and be like, all black people dying, on this date.
Right.
You lose your mind. You would lose your mind. Now put yourself in the position of our Hispanic brothers and sisters and think about how they feel. Donald Trump said when he got in office, Hispanics is out of here. If you undocumented, you illegal, or damn near if you legal, you out of here. Like you got to put yourself, and that's the thing about the tribe of Judah. When I say the tribe of Judah, I'm talking about the so-called Negro. A lot of pain, like you would think with how much pain we've been through as a people, we'd be able to empathize with our Hispanic brothers and sisters. But you ask the average black person, they don't even care about it. It ain't me. It ain't affecting my high. So they don't care about it. But if it was you, you would care. You would want somebody to mourn and cry for you.
Right.
You better listen up, man, and lock in to what the Lord is trying to show you. The Lord is trying to show you, man, what's happening in the Bible is happening now. Like there's a decree out to get rid of the Lord's chosen people. Keep going.
14. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that they should be ready against that day.
Right. So you got to sit there and live in this province where the decree came down, you're gonna die. Like, how can you can't go to work, you can't sleep, what can you do? What can you do? You're gonna sit there and be miserable, and you in hell. You want the definition of hell? You think you got to go under the ground to see hell? That's hell right there. Donald Trump sent a decree and said, you know what? All y'all leaving this country. You've been here for 30, 40, 50 years. You got to go. You don't know nothing else. Keep going.
The post went out being hastened by the king's commandment. And the decree was given to Shushan the palace. And the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city Shushan was perplexed.
Yeah. Keep going.
Esther 4:1. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes.
That was our tradition in Israel when we were mourning. We put on sackcloth, meaning old clothing, and put ashes on our head or dirt on our head. Keep going.
And went out into the midst of the city and cried with a loud and a bitter cry. And came even before the king's gate, for none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth. And in every province, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting and weeping and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes. So Esther made.
You don't think our Hispanic brothers and sisters was fasting?
Yeah.
You don't think they were mourning? Have you seen the videos of ICE running up in schools and running up in homes?
Right.
And then you sitting up here thinking because you black that you safe. You're not safe in this empire. You don't know what this devil could do. You should be prepared. How do you get prepared? You got to come into the ISUPK where you got protection.
That's right.
You think that you can just roam the streets all your life and do what you want to do all your life and the Lord not see what you're doing? You better get the Lord's protection. How can you get the Lord's protection? By serving the Lord. You're not serving the Lord in the Christian church. You was going to say something about?
Real quick, like,
Exactly. Exactly.
That's not what I'm saying. One thing when he just said we all got.
Listen, America could do. Listen, this oppressor could do, and that's the thing that kills me about rich people. You think because you black and you rich, you beat the odds. You ain't beat nothing. Esau could come and take your riches today. Esau could make up a new law tomorrow and be like, well, you earned this money between 1984 and 1985 on Monday at 2:00. Yeah, I see the deposit in your bank account. We got a decree. We taking all that. Esau, this is his country. This is his land. He make the rules. And I always say this at camp. I always bring this out. Like, if I make a game, you think I'm going to change the rules of the game so you can be equal to me?
Right.
And that's what your black politicians believe. They believe, I'm going to come to you. They believe that they can lobby or they can go and convince Esau to change the rules of his game. You cannot. You will never. I'm just thinking from my own self. I ain't even gotta think about. I ain't gotta go to college for this. I ain't gotta go, think of no formula. I'm just thinking practically. If I'm in charge of a game and I always win the game, why would I change the rules of the game and let you win? I always win. I got Boardwalk. I got Park Place. I ain't changing the rules. Them automatic for me. I ain't giving them to you. What's the little green joint? Them used to be worth a lot too on Monopoly. Pennsylvania and all. I'm not changing the rules. Listen, Mark, look, she done played it too. I'm not changing the rules. You think Esau gonna change the rules so now we can get ahead and overcome? Hell no. You ain't overcoming nothing. Go ahead.
Just to those points that y'all were making, they already started to shake down the Native Americans, asking for their identification.
Yeah.
Even though they decided to put them on reservations.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time, like y'all were saying. It's only a matter of time before that trickle down to the Native or African American.
And that's disgusting too. To look at a people that's been here and then go to them and ask them and even check and see if they're illegal. Like that's disgusting. Right. But as black people, as the so-called Negro, a lot of times we don't even empathize with that. We're just like, oh well, it ain't me. Right. But let your cousin get shot. Then now you crying to everybody.
Right.
Right. Let little Ray get capped. Now you want all the change in the world. Go ahead, Isaiah. No.
So when you look at a lot of interviews we do, that's the majority of what I'm saying. They know that.
And that's a misconception too. A lot of people think that the Hispanics ain't roll with us. You do some digging. You do it's one of those things is not publicized a lot. It's not on the front. It's not put in your face a lot like the propaganda. The propaganda is that if you go on your phone, you see a lot of stories where we against each other. But go and do your history, man. Go and do your history. You'll see that them Hispanics stood with us. They in the ghettos, in the barrios, all that stuff, man. We rocked together. We had to, and even before that, go look at the slaves that escaped to Mexico. They were free down there. Go ahead, real quick. Yeah. 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 Keep going, Yelton.
Esther 4:4. So that's just made.
Hold on, too. And the point about that, black people don't even ride with black people. Right. That's another thing I'm tired of hearing about is the damn Hispanics don't. Black people hate black people. Go look at the rich. They hate poor niggas. Poor niggas hate rich niggas. Black people don't stand with black people. So how you mad at the Hispanics for not standing with you? You hate each other. Keep going.
No, sir. So Esther's maids and her chamberlains came and told it her. Then was the queen exceedingly grieved, and she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai.
All right, so we're gonna skip ahead a little bit, then we're gonna kind of get toward the end of it because I don't want to not be able to go into the end. So again, this all started right with this heathen woman who didn't want to obey her husband. From there, right, Esther was made queen. That's who Xerxes loved the most. He saw her, he wanted her. She went through a year purification. She was going to be the queen, right? And once this was established, now Haman was put second in charge. He was number 2 in the whole 127 provinces. So now that this heathen Haman was made second in command, everybody bowed down to Haman. There was one brother. Like I said, he was a field nigga. He wasn't a house nigga. Yeah, right. He did not bow down. And so what happened? This heathen was offended. And because he was offended, he had the king put out a decree to destroy all of us. Now, when you read the Bible, you got to understand who the Jews were. We read the scripture earlier how the Jews are black. He wanted to destroy us. He wanted to destroy your ancestors. That's who he wanted to destroy all of. He wanted to destroy all because one man wouldn't bow down. And so now this is known to all the Israelites, all the Jews that's in this land. And now you got to go to work with this on your heart. You got to go to work knowing that you can be deported. Now, of course, during biblical times, he tried to unalive us. But the same thing today. You got to try to creep through work and send your kids to school. You know, my son was telling me he was one of his friends that he was going to school with. He hadn't seen him for a while. And I was just thinking to myself, man, the oppressor is the goddamn devil that the Bible speaks. Like, you got little kids afraid to come to school. Now, you know, thank the Lord, this young brother came back to school, and so he been back in school. But like, who wants to live under that kind of pressure? Who wants to live knowing you might be kicked out of the country? Like, there's plenty of room in America, plenty of room, and plenty of resources. And the oppressor would tell you, oh, it ain't enough resources for everybody. That's a lie, man. That's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie. There's plenty of land. That's land uninhabited in America. You know, you get a handful of people, they got thousands of acres by themselves. Why do you need so much land for what? And it's still a lot of land left. I tell you what, this is what you should do. You should call on the name of the Lord. Every one of us every day should call upon the name of the Lord that this empire fall.
Right.
It's going to be painful. That's the thing. We don't want to suffer any discomfort. Well, guess what? There's a time where we had to be in the wilderness catching pigeons before they left the ground. You had to eat bread that came. Where does bread come from? Damn, that came from the sky? Well, I guess I grab it and eat it. Sometimes you had to do it. Sometimes you got to be uncomfortable. You got to be in a position where you're uncomfortable so the Lord will advance you. A lot of us, we can't be uncomfortable. You don't want to eat that bread. Where that bread come from? I got to eat this bird. Maria told me if she had to kill an animal, she's going to be a vegetarian. We ain't going to be no vegetarians. I kill the bird, you cook it. We might have to be uncomfortable, but that's what it's going to take for the Lord to advance us. If you want the Lord to be with you, you got to follow the Lord, man. Let's keep going, because I'm gonna get off on a tangent. Where we at?
We on chapter 4, but you said you wanted to go ahead.
Drop down to 4, and you can skip 4.
Okay.
You can skip 5. Let's go to, yeah, this is a good one. Now, I said earlier that it was important that you realize what was so important about when Mordecai informed the king through Esther that 2 of his chamberlains was trying to kill him, right? Go to 6 and 1.
It's the book of Esther, chapter 6, verse 1. Well, that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records.
Now, this is the Lord. Only the Lord is going to wake you up out your sleep and point you to this specific event, right? Because everything was chronicled. It's much like Facebook is kind of a chronicling thing now. We don't really look at it that way, but really Facebook and social media chronicles a lot of things that we do. But back in the day, there were scribes. There were people, again, one of the questions that we always get as teachers of the Bible is, who wrote the Bible? Who wrote the Bible? Man wrote the Bible. Well, they had scribes during that time. So Peter wasn't there taking all the damn notes for himself. He had a brother follow him around who wanted to learn from him and study under him. And he was his scribe. Ezra was a scribe. There was many scribes throughout the Bible. So that's, one precept, you can always pull those precepts to say, this brother was a scribe, but this was, it's the same thing today. Some CEO, he's in a meeting, you think he's taking his notes? He ain't taking notes. He got somebody taking them notes for him. Go ahead.
Sir. On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of the records of the Chronicles, and they were read before the king.
Mm-hmm.
It was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, 2 of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Xerxes.
Now, that's why it's so important, because those 2 cats who tried to unalive the king, Mordecai was the reason why the king wasn't unalived.
Right.
And now the king is up. The Spirit of the Lord woke him up, and he just started reading the book of the Chronicles, and he saw that, damn, this cat Mordecai, he saved my life. Like that's something just to run across. That was the Lord. Keep going.
Verse 3. And the king said, what honor and dignity have been done to Mordecai for this?
Mm-hmm.
Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, there's nothing done.
They hadn't done nothing. Now listen, that's a hell of a thing for some cat to save your life and you not do nothing. Right? Keep going.
And the king, and the king said, who is in the court? Now Haman was coming to the outer court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows.
Now we skipped this part, but Haman devised a plan, right? Not only did he set a decree to destroy all the Jews, but he also specifically he made a whole what do you call it thing? A gallows. He made the whole gallows. He's gonna put him on public display. He's gonna hang Mordecai in front of the people. Now get this. Here's some Jew, some black man that's in this province under the authority of these rulers, and you save the king's life, and his second in command wants to put you to death. But somehow, some way, of course, it was the Lord. He reads that this cat Mordecai saved his life. Yeah, that's amazing. The Lord is amazing, man. You don't think the Lord can? Find me the scripture where it say, "I will make thine enemies be at peace with thee." Like that's what the Lord will do for you. The Lord will make your enemies be at peace with you. Somebody get that for me real fast. Go ahead.
Book of Proverbs 16 verse 7. When a man's ways please the Lord.
When a man's ways what?
Please the Lord.
When he what?
Please the Lord.
You should focus on making your ways please the Lord.
Right.
Go ahead.
He maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him.
You don't think the Most High could put Esau in subjection?
Right.
He could do it tomorrow if you would but obey. Guess what? If we stop doing drugs today, the black people would change tomorrow. We wake up a new people tomorrow. We'd be rich. You know how much money you save not smoking weed? I saw the price of cigarettes. I don't even know how niggas are smoking cigarettes these days, man. Right. Smoking cigarettes is like a house payment in the course of a year. I don't even lie to you. I think it's like $40, $50 for a case. That's crazy. I think a case, I never smoked, but I remember my family buying a case of cigarettes or a pack of cigarettes was like $1, maybe $1.50, $2. Like one pack is like, I don't know. It's something ridiculous. Go ahead.
And on the side of the box, it
that's not even, I mean, they don't even read that. I'm just looking at the financial, like if we would just do the things that the Lord say to do, the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community would change overnight. Go ahead.
So like, but just on the point, like the fact that Esther, when she heard what Mordecai reported to her, she reported it to the king and said this was in Mordecai. She reported it to Mordecai.
Yeah.
Even just at this point, like she was still under her who she raised.
She definitely gave honor to that brother, and it paid huge dividends. And the sisters that we have in here tonight, man, these kind of sisters that are similar to Esther. Right. These sisters rock with their husbands. You know what I mean? All of us knuckleheads sometime. So that's dope. This sister Esther, she was amazing. That's why we honor the sisters today, for sure. Let's keep going.
So verse 5. And the king's servant said unto him, behold, Haman standeth in the court. And the king said, let him come in. So Haman came in, and the king said unto him,
Haman was such an arrogant bastard too, boy. This cat was so arrogant. We running out of time, so we gonna have to speed through it. Go ahead.
Okay. So Haman came in, and the king said unto him, what shall be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor?
So the king just asked a general question. If the king delights in somebody, what should be done to him? Go ahead.
Right. Now Haman thought in his heart, to whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself?
Right. So he thinking, well, I'm number 2 in the kingdom. I think he delighted me the most. Go ahead.
And Haman answered the king, for the man whom the king delighted to honor, let the royal apparel be brought which the king used to wear.
Royal apparel, go ahead.
And the horse that the king rideth.
The royal horse, you gonna ride on him.
And the crown of royal which is set upon his head.
And a crown. Who don't want a crown?
Right.
Everybody want a crown. Keep going.
and let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes,
Mhm.
that they may array the man withal, whom the king delighteth to honor.
Who don't want them like you feel like James Brown when you get down on one knee and somebody drape you with it? You know what I mean? I'm showing my age. Keep going. Kyle looking at me like, what are you talking about?
And bring him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaim before him.
Mhm.
Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor. Then the king said to Haman, make haste and take the apparel of the horse, as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai.
Ooh, that had to cut deep. You ever think that you the one that's about to get the promotion? They go to somebody else. Yo, this cat was so heated about this. Now, remember, he built the gallows. He gonna hang this cat. Now the king is saying, all the things that you just said, go and do those things under Mordecai.
Right.
Mordecai stood with the Lord.
Right.
That's important for you to note that Mordecai stood with the Lord. Just think about that in our day-to-day lives as we move throughout, as we dealing with one another, as we speak into our husband, as we speak into our wives, as we speak into our kids, as we speak into our parents. Think about that as you move through your day-to-day life, how we deal with one another. It's not always going to be sunshine, but always try to stand with the Lord. Go ahead.
And do even so to Mordecai the Jew that sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken.
He said, everything you said, make sure it happened. Right. Keep going.
Then took Haman the apparel of the horse and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor. Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hastened to his house in mourning.
Hold on. He what?
So Haman hasted to his house mourning, and having his head covered. And Haman told Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends everything that had befallen him. Then said his wise men and Zeresh his wife unto him, if Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shalt surely fall before him.
Well, now his plans is they becoming naught. It's like everything that you had planned, you want to put this cat on the gallows? You can't do it. The king just arrayed him in royal apparel on the horse with a crown. That's why he went home crying. That's terrible for him. Of course, it was good for us as a people, right? Because this cat had plotted something evil. Again, it's such the times of today. It's such the times of the day. Go ahead. That's what happened. That's what happened in the book of Susanna. Like if you haven't read, and I'm referring to a book in the Apocrypha. If you haven't read the book of Susanna, definitely get that book and read that story. And that judgment that went against that sister, once it was found out false, it went against her accusers. So it's definitely, if you haven't read the Apocrypha, you want to read that book for sure. Keep going.
14, and while they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlains and hastened to bring Haman unto the banquet that.
Right. So this is a part that I missed to give a background. Esther asked the king. Now, here's an important piece that I didn't mention earlier, but I want to mention now. Even the queen could not go before the king unless you're like, okay, if you went before the king and he didn't call you, it was his choice for him to unalive you.
Right.
It's like the punishment, right? Because the king was not to be bothered. You couldn't go before the king unless he called upon you. So if you went before the king and he didn't call before, it was his option to unalive you. But of course, Esther went before him and asked that they could have a banquet, right? Now, Esther was bad. The scripture said it, and he loved her above all the other people, all the other women that he wanted. Go ahead.
Esther 71. So the king and Haman came to banquet with Esther the queen. The king said again unto Esther on the second day at the banquet, why? What is thy petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted thee. What is thy request? And it shall be performed, even to the half of the kingdom. Then
Esther was bad. He said, I'm gonna give you whatever you want, girl. Up to half the kingdom.
Then,
Go.
verse 3. Then Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request. For we are sold.
This is rough. This is rough. We're getting into it now. We're getting into it now. So she's asked for a banquet, and I forget how many days. Was it 3 days? The banquet? I think she asked 3 days in a row, and on this day, she finally comes and tells the king what she actually wants from him. Because you know what? Matter of fact, I skipped a crucial part. Could you find me the part where it talks about how Esther was to go to the king and say, now the reason why this sister is honored in the Bible is because what she did, right? And that's a critical part that I missed in skipping forward. You got it? What is it? Say it again. 7 days for the banquet. You find me the scripture where Mordecai told her to go to the king. Now, Mordecai raised her as his own daughter, but he charged her with something super heavy. He charged her with saving so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And again, we look at this today like it was so long ago, but this applies today. All the things in the Bible apply today. No sweat, you can find it. But so Mordecai charged Esther to go before the king. And again, if you went before the king without being called, you risked the chance of being unalive. So he wanted her. You got it? What is it, Kyle?
The book of Esther 4:13.
Right. Good. Go ahead.
Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, speak not with thyself.
That's a heavy thing right there. That's a heavy thing to not think about your own preservation. And that's what many of us so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans do. We think about ourselves. Like when there's something going on in Hispanic community, Black people are like, when there's something going on in the Black community, Hispanics like, we don't even think about the brothers and sisters on the reservation. 30% of the reservations don't have running water today. 30% of people on reservations today don't have running water. Can you imagine that? No running water in your house. That I can't even fathom that. You think you poor in the ghetto, you got water. Your water may be off, but you got it. You understand? They don't have running water. As a people, we are destroyed. And it's not going to get better for us until we learn how to serve the Lord. You would think at this point, we'd have came out of it. The Chinese been over here. Chinese came over here after us. Chinese got Chinatowns in every major city. Arabs come over here. Africans come over here. They all establish their own little communities. They build up wealth. They build up businesses. They build up everything. Why Black people ain't did it? That's because the Lord is against us.
Right.
Better get the Lord. We better get the Lord on our side. Go ahead, Isaac.
I'll go with you with this, but also really like once we start integrating and everything and coming trying to integrate with everybody, we lost our school, we lost everything that we had pertaining to us. Once we started Black Wall Street and all that was big because we spent money with each other. You know, we got the biggest consumers in this country.
Yeah.
So we spend money only with our own.
Yeah.
We build our own.
Yeah, definitely. The Lord told us to be a holy people. And you go to church, you think holy is, grandma on the floor shaking, and somebody cover her up, and she's speaking in something you can't understand. That's not holy. Holy simply means to be separate.
Right.
That's what holy means. The Bible says that we are a separate people. We're not to integrate and be with people and trying to celebrate all these holidays. They're not for us. This is a feast day. This is what the Lord, you can find this in the Bible. I can't find Christmas in the Bible. I can't find Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day. Nobody got to tell me, you got it, sis. Help her out so she is silent. All right. Keep going. Go ahead.
Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, speak not with thyself, that thou shalt escape in the king's house
Mm-hmm.
more than all the Jews.
Right. So he told her, don't think that you can escape just because you're in the king's house. You're gonna be able to escape. Keep going.
14, for thou altogether wilt not cease at this time. Then shall there enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place.
Mm-hmm.
But thou, thy father's house, shall be destroyed.
Listen, he dropped something so heavy on her. He said, don't think because you're in the king's house, you're gonna be safe. You gotta look at all of us. And that's what we try to do in the school, man. Well, that's what we do in the school. Right. Commissioner Hunter taught us, man, to care for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Keep going. Actually, pick up where we at. Where you at? I think it's a little bit more. Keep going.
And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this?
Listen, heavy right there. He said this: you may have been come to this kingdom for this reason. You don't think the Lord moves chess pieces? He absolutely does.
That's right.
Any more?
If I could read 16.
Go ahead.
Verse 16. Go gather all the Jews that are present in Shushan. Neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise.
The sister knew she had to do something heavy. Listen, Esther told Mordecai, go tell all the Jews to fast for me so that I may have strength. Again, your sister did something so wonderful and great for us as a people. She went and stood before the king with the possibility of being unalived. Now, these is crazy times we're talking about in this Bible. Like, for me, that's a lot of courage. You know what I mean? If it's a possibility that you're going to die, she said, you know what? I know I got to do this, but please go tell everybody to fast and pray for me so I can have strength. Go ahead.
All right. Just real quick to your point. It's crazy because even in that captivity, we understood we were one people. Like, just recently, Black people tried to do that thing with Target. What was it?
The blackout.
A whole day, they were not going to buy nothing from Target.
Yeah.
They thought that was going to matter.
Yeah.
It showed that we don't understand how to come together for something that does.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to stop buying something for Target for a day and it's going to matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And I even told them, I said, I didn't go to Target, but if I wanted to, I would have. Because if you really want to make a statement, the statement's right here. Right. What we are doing is the statement that's going to make us not only come together, but actually bring us up out of captivity. Not by Target, believe me, they just laugh. They might make it out. It don't even matter.
Go ahead, sis. Esther?
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is talking about Israelites right here. Now she was married to a heathen king, right? But she was definitely an Israelite. Mordecai. This whole story is about Israelites. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, not just that. Anybody who went before the king who wasn't called, whether it was a man or a woman, if he didn't call you, you run the risk of being unalived. Now, if he wanted to hear what you had to say, of course, then he wouldn't. But you run the risk of being unalived. And that was just, kings, heathen kings, who knows? What was that? King Louis, he cut off the heads of so many people. These heathens do all kind of crazy stuff. But she had a lot of heart and she had a lot of love for her people, for sure. Where we at? Keep going.
Just a little bit more.
Go ahead.
And so will I go unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish.
That was heavy. She said, if I perish, I perish. But guess what? I got to at least try for my people.
Right.
Keep going. Damn right. Clap it up. Shit.
That's the spirit, not only sisters, all of us. Right. Like when we talk about coming together, every last man, woman, and body should have that spirit. Meaning, whatever it takes for us to come together, I'm going to do. I'm going to go above and beyond. What we got to do is care. You got to care. You got to care about the people. You know what I'm saying? You cannot be selfish. America teaches us how to be selfish. So if you want to be selfish, continue listening to America. But if you want to serve your God, you want to matter to your people, you have to care about your people. And she is a great example.
Great example. Listen, and brothers who go to camp, you know this. You know, we stand out on the street corners and we prophesy unto the people, and we say things that people do not want to hear. And people often, very often, threaten us. They come up against us and they want to harm us. So just so you know, ladies, the men that's in this room, they are very courageous. They're very courageous. Why? Because there's all kind of people on the streets that say that they're going to harm us. Now, of course, we know better. It is what it is. Isaiah told me if it's on the flow, it's on the flow. So we go out there, man, and we stand for things that we believe in, and the world looks at us as you know, crazy people. They call us a hate group, but guess what? We are a group of men who follow a brother he's held on to something so precious. Like I never would have known. I never even would have researched any history related to Israelites.
Right.
I didn't know anything about. I thought all the people in the Bible were white.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought all the people in the Bible were white. I never even knew that the word black was in the Bible, so to speak. Right. When referring to a person, like now I know a dozen scriptures that talk about black people in the Bible. Like you saw the 10 Commandments, and they didn't put this in the movie. The Lord told Moses to stick his hand in his bosom, and when he said, "Now pull it out," and it was leprous as snow. Now, if Moses was white, what's the miracle? Right. You stick your hand in your bosom and you pull it out and it's white. What's the miracle? That ain't a miracle if you already white. Right. Moses was a dark-skinned brother. He told Moses, stick your hand in your bosom, now pull it out, and it was leprous as snow. Moses was like, well, damn. He said, well, now put it back in your bosom, and he said it was as it was before. Where's the miracle if he's a white man? I saw that movie. I never listen. You want to learn something? Come into the school, man. You ain't gonna get that in the Christian church. You thought Moses was Charleston Heston. That's what you thought. He ain't it. He ain't it. The young cat's in the room like, who the hell is Charleston Heston? Keep going here. Keep going.
Where you want to go?
7.
All right. I think we have 4. This is Esther 7 and 4. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed.
Now speed up right now. Esther set up the banquet that was 7 days, and on the 7th day, start me again from 2. Mm-hmm.
Esther 7 and 2. And the king said again unto Esther on the 2nd day at the banquet of wine, why is thy petition, or what is thy petition, Queen Esther? It shall be granted thee. What is thy request? And it shall be performed, even to the half of the king. Mm-hmm. Then Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition.
Now she dropped something so heavy on the king. He's like, well, I don't want to speed ahead. Keep going.
And my people at my request.
Mm-hmm.
For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed. It's like to be slain, to perish. Mm-hmm. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue.
Now this is to know how to work a room. She laying it on a little bit. Like Esther is saying, okay, me and my people are to be destroyed. Now, if we was just to be sold as slaves, I wouldn't say nothing. She would have said something, but that's what you call like being wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Like she's definitely know how to communicate and how to get what she wants through being a woman, right? It's a skill set for sure that our women could learn. Keep going.
I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. Mm-hmm. Then the king Xerxes answered and said unto Esther the queen, who is he and where is he that there's presumed in his heart to do so?
Now, granted, you the king, you don't even, if somebody comes to you and says there's a people, right, their laws is not your laws. What do you say? Their laws are diverse or something like that, and they don't keep the king's laws, and these are people, they're just different. You know, we don't need to deal with them. So Haman is coming to the king's like, we don't need to deal with these people. We just need to get rid of them. King's like, okay, they sound like trash to me. Just get rid of them. He didn't know that he was talking about his wife's people. So now she's presenting it before him. And she set it up so smoothly. She got them all buttered up for 6 days, and on the 7th day, she dropped the bomb on them. Like this, my people are weird. It's a decree to destroy us. I would petition you to save for my life and my people's life. Go ahead.
So verse 6, and as you said, the adversary and the enemy is this wicked Haman.
Now imagine you number 2, you over 127 provinces. 127 provinces. You number 2 in command. You're the king's right-hand man. And now the king's wife came in there and said, he's trying to destroy me and my people. Keep going.
Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
I would be afraid too, because he plotted and he knew that he was a snake. Keep going.
7. And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
Of course, because the king now realizes, like, hey, man, you tried to deceive me. This was very underhanded, right? You didn't give me the whole truth. You didn't tell me that you're talking about the queen's people. Not to mention Mordecai is the Jew, the cat who saved my life. Keep going.
Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the palace of the banquet of wine. And Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was. Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in the house? As the word went out of the king's mouth.
Hold on. Keep going.
As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face.
So Haman's trying to explain, he's trying to plead for his life. And as the words are coming out of his mouth, it like, you put a hood over his head. Go ahead, you was gonna say something?
Okay. It goes to show in the world there's no wisdom in the world. That was the king's wife, Mordecai, her uncle, saved his life. He wouldn't against it. He wouldn't even fought against it.
It is crazy, but it's definitely the spirit of the oppressor today. It's nothing changed. You see the same thing. Like America prefers for you to lose your spirit. That's why anybody with that kind of their own mind in the workplace, like it's really just tough being an Israelite in the workplace. It really is. You don't think like they think. You don't laugh at their jokes. You don't fit in with them. And those of us that do fit in, kind of because they've been raised around the oppressor, like even I gotta imagine in them as some sort of not being comfortable around them totally. I wonder certain brothers and sisters who kind of just been raised around our oppressor, they kind of look like they fit in. I gotta believe at the end of the day, it's some small piece of them like I don't fit in. I pray that that's in them so they can start to move away for that. Like for us being in America, your job is to not integrate. Your job is to go earn your money, make a living, and retain who you are as a person. Don't give yourself up to this empire. Don't give yourself up to this slavery. Don't be part of America. Like that's what America wants, is for you to be fully integrated, be fully part of it, celebrate everything that they celebrate, laugh at all the corny ass jokes, and just be one with America. That's not what we teach in here, man. We are absolutely against you being part of America. We absolutely against you being part of any religion too. Don't think because we in here reading the Bible, we want you to be part of some religion. This ain't no damn religion.
Right.
You ain't gonna find nothing in the Bible that talks about religion. There ain't no Pentecost in the Bible. Ain't no Baptist. Ain't no Seventh-day Adventists. Ain't no Jehovah's Witness. Ain't no Mormons. None of that is in the Bible. And that's all trash. This cat got on here. I blocked him, by the way. Don't let this cat, because he said he was gonna report the channel, that Arab cat, don't go back and forth with him. We don't believe in none of this garbage with the Quran, none of that. Only thing we believe in is serving the Lord. And the words of the Lord are found in the Bible, nowhere else. Ain't no religion in the Bible. You want to learn how to live your life? You want to learn what you can eat? It's in the Bible. You want to learn who you can have sex with? It's in the Bible. You want to learn how to properly raise your children? It's in the Bible. You want to learn how to continue to grow and strengthen your marriage? It's tough work, but guess what? It is in the Bible. Go ahead, Art.
No, I'm trying to know hypothetical. But you don't think once the king was found out that he ordained for his wife's people to be killed, you don't think he probably would end up killing people?
I mean, I guess if you want to go hypothetical, would you? I ask you the question: would you? You would?
If you tricked me into killing my wife's family, and I didn't know that's what you did, you died. Well, yeah, this killed.
I guess I missed your question.
Like before she presented that to him,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't know that was his people that passed the decree on.
Mm-hmm.
That happened, seeing that he misguided the king.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think after the king did it, you don't think, I'm not going to be hypothetical, you don't think he would have been like, oh, maybe just had me kill my wife's people? You don't think he would have turned around and killed me anyway?
But he did though.
I know, I was just saying, she never, like, if that never happened.
Maybe he probably wouldn't have found, he didn't know. That's what I'm saying. That's the point that I pointed out earlier. Like okay, look at a king as somebody who just, you trust your advisors. It's like I trust y'all to tell me like what's going on in Dayton. I ain't here. So like you come in and be like, yo, this the event. Like y'all took me to last week was some bullshit. But look, like again, now on a serious point, like you have advisors around you to give you counsel. So you place trust in those advisors to tell you. So I don't go behind y'all on every little detail because I trust y'all to give me the information. So no, I don't think he wouldn't have never known. You know what I mean? That's, of course, again, it's hypothetical, but go ahead, Art. You want to say something?
Were you saying if he would have ended up killing the wife and the family?
Right, he wasn't gonna never kill his wife, but I'm saying, but if he ended up killing his family, like the Jews, and then find out that's her.
Okay, you see what he said? He's saying like
I answered him.
Okay,
I answered him. Yeah. No, this is my private test. Go ahead, let's keep going because we almost out of time.
Sorry. Okay. Verse 9. In Harbanah, one of the chamberlains said before the king, behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman,
so these gallows, Haman built these gallows. Go ahead.
Which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standing in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai.
Let that be a lesson to you. You devise evil for somebody else, that evil could turn on your head. That evil could turn on to you. And that's what happened to this wicked bastard Haman. The evil that he had devised for Mordecai, it turned on him. And he was hung on the same gallows that he built to hang somebody else. Right. Keep going.
So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai.
Mm-hmm.
Then was the king's wrath. Esther 8. On that day did the king Xerxes give the house of Haman, the Jews' enemies, unto Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her. And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai.
Listen, now peep this. You stand with the Lord is staying with you.
That's right.
That's what the scripture we read earlier. Keep going.
Verse 3. Oh no, it's like it. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman. And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and beside him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews.
Right. So Esther went to the king and asked that he canceled the decree to unalive all the Israelites that was in the 127 provinces.
Verse 4. Then the king held out the gold scepter towards Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king and said, if it please the king, if I have found favor in his sight, and the thing seemed right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes. let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews, which are in all the king's province. For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come to my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? Then the king Xerxes said unto Esther, the queen, and to Mordecai the Jew, behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hands upon it.
Let's go to drop down to 15.
Verse 15. Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel, blue and white, and with a great crown of gold.
At the end of the day, the brother that stood with the Lord, who was about to be unalive, what did it say happened to him?
And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel, blue and white.
He went in smelling stinky and came out smelling, I can't even think of the analogy. I wanted like $1 million, you understand? Like he went out in the king's apparel on, which is, of course, what the Lord will do for you. Again, he'll make your enemies be at peace with you. Keep going.
And with a garment of fine linen and purple, in the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor. And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them.
This is why we celebrate this day today. If you go to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, you'll read about the things that you're supposed to celebrate. Now, of course, you're not taught this in the Christian church. You're taught to celebrate, what's it?
Valentine's Day.
What's that? No, Leviticus. I'm talking about feast days. Talking about high holy days. What you talking about? No sweat. So Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, shows us what days we're supposed to celebrate. In America, we're taught to celebrate from the beginning, the New Year, right? Which is the worship of Greek gods and Roman gods. Valentine's Day, right? Valentine's Day, which is another Roman and Greek god. Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July. I don't even know why niggas celebrate 4th of July these days. That's diabolical. Easter is another day. Again, do we have anybody got a Bible dictionary? Probably not. You go and read the Bible dictionary. It says Easter is properly translated as Passover. Of course, which is coming up April 12th. That's in the Bible, the Passover, not Easter, right? All these things that we celebrate in America, you won't find them in the Bible. Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, shows you what you should celebrate according to what God wants you to celebrate. There's high holy days that we celebrate. This day right here is known as a feast day. This is not found in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, but it's a day that's been memorialized by Israelites. Why? Because we were going to be destroyed. And so all the Israelites said, you know what? This is a day that we need to remember. Right. This is a day that this sister Esther stood so boldly for us, right? She stood so boldly for us, and she stood for us so that we need to remember this day. This cat ain't check nobody. All right. So that's today. Let's keep going.
Oh, sir. So 8.
Oh, 9. We should be 9. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Great.
91.
Oh, 91. Okay. I'm thinking you all getting hard. Esther 91. Now the 12th month, that is the month of Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution. In the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that hated them. The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the provinces of the king Xerxes to lay hand on such as sought their hurt, and no man could withstand them. for the fear of them fell upon all people.
That's what happens when the Lord is staying with you. So we skipped over quite a bit, but the details are there. If you want to go and read the book of Esther, it's a wonderful story about sisters, about a sister standing so boldly to save her people.
Right.
So with that, we're gonna end the class. We got a lily here for each sister. If you could pass out the lilies, like give each sister a lily if you could.
That's right.
This is the day where we honor the sisters, especially for all the wonderful food that the sisters put together. Let's clap it up. I ain't had a chance to eat none, but I'm sure it's super delicious. Go ahead, I got you some take on. All right. We appreciate y'all sisters for all that y'all do, taking care of us, looking out for us, supporting us while we push this through. All right, we honor y'all as if honor, for Esther for sure for the wonderful work that she did. So.
That's right.
What's that? All right, with that, we're gonna say shalom.
See you,